Hey, Zach here. So I'm going to spend about 30 seconds to a minute talking about something about my channel. Something kind of bad. Annoyingly, I got a copyright strike on my account, and I have no earthly idea why. This has already had some major effects on my account, and I feel it was the result of some knee-jerk reaction. Anyway, I'm just warning you guys, there is the possibility that my account could be deleted in the future. I think what happened is air was like deemed to be copyright material or something because it's in a lot of movies. Since I had air in my video, it was removed for copyright infringement. Just kidding, of course, but anyway, I'm disputing it, and in YouTube's terms of service for counter notifications against copyright strikes, there's this lovely little addition or disclaimer that you could get sued. Corporations own the world, folks. Copyright is just another extension of that. This has all obviously discouraged me to make videos, but hopefully it gets resolved. Anyway, episode time. That'll cheer me up. Basically, the only reason I'm doing this right now is for you guys, the fans, so thanks for watching. Anyway, also, I'm going to introduce a new segment at the end of these videos that spends a little bit of time just talking about whatever the hell's on my mind. Alright, the episode starts with this heavy blanket of atmosphere that just kind of pulls you in, and what I'm pretty sure is a new music track, and the new music track was the big part of what really dragged you in there. I mean, in my opinion, Hunter x Hunter's music has just kind of gone on an upward slope throughout the series. You know, it started off simple, then more complex layers got added to it. It's really freaking hilarious that Gon's attack is named after a stutter. I mean, where do you see that? Where is like the hero's ultimate attack just named after a stutter? Can you think of anything? I sure haven't seen anything like that. That's unless it's like in a comedy manga. Yeah, I mean, that would happen. But I mean, try to think through all the media you've seen. Have you really seen something like that? It's just another example that Hunter... I'm probably just going to say Hunter from now on when I get a chance. But anyway, it's just another example of Hunter being as subversive and unusual in regards not just to shonen storytelling, but in regards to regular storytelling too. I don't think you would see that in books even. Like, even in the most strange book, an attack being named after a stutter. It's great that such a brutish character like Knuckle can give Gon advice as he fights with him and not just pound him angrily. Oh, God. Anyway. Hunter x Hunter is a series where a quarter of a second counts, and the battles are starting to get very fast, however realistic they are within their own fictional world. Just like Moral said, one mistake and it's all over, and you bite the dust. And with how fast things are getting, that really applies doubly. Knuckle isn't just a softie, he has a very intimidating side to him. The whole charm of his character comes from the fact that he looks like a typical brute, but he's in fact a cuddle bear. The way this kind of plays into the story right now, and the cool way it plays into it, is... Okay, so Gon just suffered a huge loss. Now, normally you'd have the mentor character come in and kind of touch him up a bit. That's what Biscuit is doing. And you might have some pushover opponents or something. Well, Knuckle is no pushover, even just with his personality. Sure, he has an aspect of softness, but Gon is also fighting what seems to be on the outside a very angry dude. Gon's voice acting in this episode was just really strained, and I liked the rough edge to it in this episode. I mean, the animation may have been a bit subpar in this episode, but really, Gon's voice made up for it to me. Yeah. However, the music choices could be a bit odd in this episode. I didn't like the music choice after Gon said Knuckles should be fighting to kill all super deadly. I feel that a more surprising music choice should have been used there. Gon is pissed that Knuckle isn't using his full strength. Remember, Gon values strength a lot, and to be beaten by a lax opponent is humiliating for him. The music choice should have reflected that. There's also the aspect of Gon using his attack's weakness to his advantage, which is tremendously thought out. I mean, come on. Normally, weaknesses are treated as just that, weaknesses. But Togashi turned this on its head, and he made a weakness have an aspect of it that can be considered a strength. Hunter x Hunter has some of the most thought-out battles I've ever seen, if not the most. People who diss anime just haven't seen things like this and usually have very narrow tunnel vision. Let's see, there's a cute cameo of Kurapika and Leorio playing baseball. And of course, since I'm not going to say anything, but we haven't seen them up until now, and for Greed Island we didn't really see them either. So, you know, it's nice they could be included in some way. I don't believe this was in the manga. I think this was entirely an edition of Madhouse. Killua provides some super in-depth analysis. Sure, to some it might be stating the obvious, but Killua has always done really thorough commentary about the situation, and his slightly worried voice helps keep the situation tense. Hunter is no series where you can fire off infinite energy blasts, and at most you can use a few of those things. Nen has a world of possibilities, but also either devastating consequences or strict limitations. It just makes sense then that Hunter x Hunter has really balanced battles, even if our heroes do get their asses kicked a lot. Gon uses a much stronger version of paper than we saw on Greed Island, and I just have to say Gon's voice acting in this segment is spectacular. You know, when he appears right behind Knuckle, and then he says this stuff. Killua's analysis was spot on. Gon was at his limit. This is one of the only series you would see an ultimate attack hit the opponent and not do anything, not because of the opponent's strength, but simply because the other character fainted. How often do you see that? A lot of the time that would have been the attack that sealed the deal, unless we're talking about the super final boss of the arc. They can sometimes survive those, but not a character like Knuckle as far as plot structure goes. Killua recognizes that Gon was feeling quite angry that Knuckle wasn't using his full strength, and so Killua shares that anger because they're bros and they share a link in their minds. Shoot seems serious this time about joining the fight. Will he chicken out? You know, given his character so far, he stalked them for an entire month without doing anything. You would assume he might not, but at the very end of the episode, he does get one of those battle cameos, like when the screen kind of splits up like that or whatever. We get to see Biscuit's most beautiful form, and she tells Killua a major weakness. For a main character to have the philosophy to always run when you're outmatched is already unusual. Automatically assuming everything is a worst-case scenario is a defense mechanism for a lot of people, because with hope, they've assumed best-case scenarios before, and they've been betrayed. Normally, no one would criticize you for assuming the worst case, but you'll almost always be criticized for assuming the best case. It takes an intense amount of thought for Togashi to realize that leaning far one way or the other is not always the best choice, and then you can miscalculate either way. He's saying that assuming the worst case can put you in a bad mindset that will cause you to lose when you otherwise would have had a chance at winning. Biscuit issues him an ultimatum. Gon and Killua seem to have quite different philosophies about fighting, and they're about to fight some incredibly strong opponents from this point on and in the future of this arc. So we're going to have to see if those kind of diverging philosophies will hold up. We get a cool cameo of Illumi assuring us he has not been forgotten. His spell is still very much over Killua, and I mean it's up to you to, if you're only up to the anime, it's up to you to debate whether it's an actual spell or not, or just the social kind of ingraining of his philosophy into of the philosophy of an assassin into Killua's mind. Palm was legitimately scary this time. It says a lot about Biscuit's strength that she didn't just immediately dart off. This episode gets an A- for me for its content, and the only thing dragging it down to an A- is the fact that the animation was a little lackluster at times. Certain things seemed to lack the impact that they should have had. And yeah, the music choices were a bit odd at times. Alright, I talked about a segment at the beginning where I'd talk about whatever's on my mind, and what's on my mind right now, and this can relate to anything, by the way. It can be politics, music, whatever the hell. I just recently listened to OK Computer for about the 7th time, and I'll be honest, I did not get the album before. The album is OK Computer by Radiohead, and it's considered by many people, for some damn reason, to be utter masterpiece, and a lot of people have it as the #1 album of all time. Go listen to it if you ever get a chance, if you haven't, and see if you really think it deserves #1, even if you're not really musically inclined. But I finally did actually get the album just the other day. Okay, so normally I listen to the album as like background music for something, like jogging, I guess, just checking the camera, making sure it's not lagging. Okay, but yeah, I mean, I'd like jog with it in the background, and it would just not click for me. There would be some songs I liked, but to be #1, I was just not getting it. That was until yesterday I actually sat down, just completely isolated, and I listened to it, focusing solely on the album, and I read the lyrics while I was listening to the album. I did not do anything else. I just kind of sat there in a trance. Now, what this does when you're solely focusing on the music is it lets you hear each individual note and the progression that note has to the next note. And you see that OK Computer has the most logical progression ever of notes. That's why it's hailed as a masterpiece. It's so cohesive. There are certain albums, these tend to be pop albums, that just have what you would call filler songs, and they just slap any damn song anywhere they please. But on OK Computer, you actually see that the song that comes after the song you just heard is the only song that could have came after that. That's what it means to be thematically cohesive. And I also heard some terminology from someone else, from a music critic, that said the album is supposed to be glacial, robotic, and futuristic. And I listened to the album with that mindset, and then it finally clicked. Now I get it. It is by no means my favorite album. Now I get it though, and it's rated very highly by me on a certain site I go to. I never really want to listen to it again, but at least I can say, finally, gotcha, now I finally get you. Thanks for watching, you beautiful fans, and I'll see you later.